If you're looking for a new television, there's never been a better time than 2026 to check out new TV sets. Everything from low end to high end has great entries, and this is one of those great entries, right? So this is the U7SG from Hisense, and this is firmly in the middle of the range. So this is a mid-range TV. They have both the U6s, they also have the U7s, U8s, some higher end stuff as well. But if you're looking for a solid all-around TV, then this one is gonna be a great one for you. So stick around, we're gonna take a look at all the features and talk about the things that are really important to you to make a decision around what TV you should or should not buy.
Before we get started, if you're into tech, hi-fi, or movies, be sure to push the subscribe button for new weekly videos.
One thing I want to point out as we're getting started here is how I'm filming this video. And this is really a testament to not only this TV, but just TVs in general. So I'm in an upstairs bedroom, and if you look over here, we've got a wide open window with daylight coming in, and we're filming this TV in this non-light controlled environment. So a lot of videos you're gonna see, they film it in like black rooms, and then they'll cut a TV out and then paste it back on top just to make it look good. Well, we're not doing that because this TV, even as a mid-range TV, is completely bright enough to really film well in this room. And then the glare is non-existent. Now we'll talk about all that stuff later, but I just wanted to point out that this is different, right? I can remember back in the day when you really couldn't do this kind of thing because the TVs just couldn't keep up with the brightness, but this TV does. But like I said, more about that later. Now, we're going to talk about three things here, and this is really my methodology that I recommend for people to follow when they want to purchase a television. There are three decisions that you need to make, three different criteria for those decisions. So one is size, right? Whether people believe it or not, size is the #1 driver of satisfaction for a television. So I always say buy the biggest one you can. Now this is a 65, but they also make these in 85s, 100-inch. So they have this available in whatever size you're really going to want. Outside of that, there's price, and we're going to do a live comparison of this television to other TVs that are on the market. So we'll go check it out online and we can look at that. And then features, and features is where we're going to spend a lot of time at. And that's really going to help you understand how to use this TV in your environment. So let's go ahead and jump in first by taking a look at the physical unit and kind of the speeds and feeds of things going on the front and the back of this. The most obvious feature of any television is the panel in the front, right? So this is obviously Mini-LED. This is a 166 hertz panel. It does VRR, and it'll go 300 and something when you drop down to 1080p. So the refresh rate is more than really anyone needs at this point. And you're going to find that a lot of TVs are kind of hitting at that top end of functionality that you need, right? Which is really nice because what that does is drives price down. Mini-LED, 166 hertz. The anti-reflective coating on the Hisense TVs is outstanding. I like this better than the TCL anti-reflective coating myself. Personal preference, but this works really great in rooms where you have big super bright lights or windows. It really diffuses all that reflection and it's completely gone. Now if you look at the bezel on this, and if you come close and take a look with me, this is not super special, right? So you've got a pretty decent amount of black here between where the screen color kicks in and where, you know, that black space of 1/4 of an inch. So this isn't super duper tight, but it's still respectable. It is not to the point where it's an unnoticeable amount of space, but for me, it doesn't really distract from the television. Now, when you look at the off-axis response to this TV, so let's take a step here and look directly in front of the television, right? And so you can see, you know, you're getting all of your picture, your contrast and everything, all the colors. And as you move around to the side, it drops off a little bit, but you know, as I look at this, it's not significant. I know some other folks have said that they feel like there's a lot of drop off as you move to the edges, but from my experience, I mean, you're here with me, you see a little bit of it, but it's not bad. You'd really have to have a super wide sofa for this to make a significant impact to you. I mean, you got to be way over here. And, you know, there are some rooms where you're going to have a sofa that's 90 degrees off on the television, but not so much. You know, I think this panel's doing a really great job. Now we're looking at the back of the television, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the audio. So this has a 2.1.2 Atmos system built in. So you got a left and right, which is the 2, the 0.1, which is the sub, and then 0.2, which are up firing speakers. Now they're not located on the top of the bezel, but I think they're in here kind of angled, and this is going to get you some height effect. Does it work? Kind of. You know, bouncy, pointing up kind of speakers are never the best, but they're better than not having anything at all. Now, the main event here on the back is going to be all of the different connectivity that we have. So most important, you've got 4 of these HDMI ports, and these are all 2.1, HDMI 2.1, which is great. So you don't have to pick and choose. You get all the full speed on all of them. eARC is on number 3, but I don't know that you can see, but they don't even call out speeds here. So if you remember in the olden days, they would have a fast port and then slow ones. These are all the same. You've got 2 USBs, you've got your antenna, you've got your digital audio out, and then also your LAN. And that's it. It's really cool that you've got 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, because this is going to allow you to connect your Apple TV, 2 game systems, and then have an eARC port to get out to your soundbar. So really great set of connectivity on the back of this television. Here's a quick peek at the remote control. So if you've seen a Hisense remote, there's nothing really new about this. There are a lot of buttons here at the top. You got Netflix, YouTube, Prime, Disney Plus, your star, and then a kid button, right? And so those are a little bit different. You've got your voice control. But other than that, very, very standard Hisense remote control. It's nice in the silver. Inside of the television, once you're looking at the UI, you'll notice that this is Google TV, right? You can see it up in the top right corner. This is, you know, what I call the standard operating system for most televisions. Now, Samsung uses Tizen, and then there's also the Fire TV OS that you find on some TVs. This model actually has a Fire TV OS model that you can purchase. Now, I prefer Google OS myself, but they're both competent and they both work well. I have noticed that you typically see the Fire on lower end televisions, so it's nice that you can choose between the 2 different OSs on this model. On higher end models, you usually get Google only, and on a lower end television, you usually get Fire only. So this is, again, mid-range, and that's what you're looking at here. Now let's talk about features that are important to you and really should be important for anybody that's buying a television. And at the top of the list is, you know, what formats does it support? So this does Dolby Vision, HDR10+, all the sound stuff. So you're covered there. Again, we're at the point now where any competent TV is going to cover all of those things. Well, maybe not Samsung, but that's a whole different kind of story. Now, from a capabilities point of view, you know, the big ones are brightness, right? And TVs need to get bright enough where you can use them in a room like this, where you've got overhead lights on and open windows. And this thing is crazy good, right? Now, it's not top of the line good, so it's not doing 10,000 nits like some other televisions that you can spend $5 or $6 or $7 or $10,000 to buy. But this TV, at a price that you're going to see here in just a bit, is crazy at 2,500 nits for SDR and then 3,200 nits for HDR. This is plenty of bright, right? You can get more. You can, and let me say that is in torch mode, right? As you change different modes, it'll get dimmer. But this peak brightness on this TV is stellar. I mean, there's nothing to complain about. Now, blooming, we've got about 960 backlit zones on this television, right? So discrete zones that allow you to really get away from huge blooming and give you really good contrast. So I'm very, very satisfied there. It's not top of the line for this type of technology today, but this is a mid-range television and it is very, very good. You have to be a super aficionado OLED lover to really knock on the television. But if you are that person that has to have perfect blacks, this one won't be for you, but for the 99.9% of the rest of us, it does a really, really good job. Color, all right, so 2026 is the year of color and 100% of reproduction of the Rec 2020 color space. This TV does not do that. So you're gonna get about 80% coverage out of this television. Again, if you're not sitting side by side to compare televisions that can do all of the color space versus this television, you won't really know. But there is a difference. Again, mid-range TV, it's not going to do everything the top of the line television can, but you're not going to pay that price either. Very competent though at 80%, which is much better than televisions in the past. Now, dirty screen, check that out. No issues there. And from a motion perspective, you can make it as smooth or as choppy as you want to with settings inside of the television. So that's not really an issue any longer. You can turn on the soap opera mode at different levels and even make 24p look super silky smooth.
Now let's do a little price reconnaissance on this. So, we're looking at Best Buy right now. We are in May, and let's see what we got pricing going on. So we got about $950 on this U7. You can see this is a 2026 model. And what is around this thing? So we've got some 2025 TVs. There's an old 2024, 2025. So you're seeing that the price on this now there is savings being shown of $551. So that's pretty aggressive, but it's pushing it down into the cost of last year's model, which is great, right? Instead of having to pay a premium. You can see that the Samsung S84F is right here beside it in cost. Let's see if we can find anything in 2026 that we can compare to. Nothing yet. I mean, here's the Canvas TV. That's not really a good comparison. Let's continue to go up in price and see what we can find. All right, so we are, a couple of $100 up on an old 2023 model. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this thing is priced really well. Still in the 25s. There's a frame TV here for $1,200. Man, where is it? There's nothing. Okay, here we go. Finally, the QN70H at $1,200. So that's $250 more than that Hisense TV. Man, the Hisense is looking really good on price right now. What else do we have? Yeah, you have to move way up to get to anything that really, from a feature set, is competitive on the television. All right, here's the QM7L. This is a very good direct competitor. This is the mid-range TCL TV at $1,300, at $350 more. The Hisense is coming in at a compelling price point. Now, the TCL QM7L, all right, it, in my opinion, is a little bit better. It's got some slightly better features on it. But is it $350 better? Is it a third more, or a quarter more in price better? That I don't know. So I think the take-home message here is that Hisense is coming in at a great price point at that sell price on Best Buy right now.
So you've got all the facts. You understand the price, you understand the features, and kind of where this sits in comparison to other TVs from a price perspective. So do you buy this TV or not? So at a $950 price point for a 65-inch television, that price, of course, scales up as they get bigger, as we saw earlier. And compared to the competitors out there, this is a solid good buy, right? Now, what are you going to get for the money? You're going to get a mid-range TV that isn't as good as the top of the line, but you're also paying less than a fifth of the cost of top of the line televisions, right? So from a value perspective, you get a whole bunch of value out of this TV. Now, who's going to notice the difference between this television and the higher end TVs? That is going to be your cinephiles, right? So these are going to be the people that were buying the Kuro Plasmas back in the day. These are the folks that were the first adopters for the flat screen TVs. That is not your typical consumer. So I would say that almost everybody out here watching today is going to be the kind of person that would look at this television and say, that is absolutely stunning and gives me a really, really wonderful experience in my home. So I strongly recommend this TV, particularly for a budget buyer that wants a television that has enough brightness to work in a room that has a lot of light, because this TV is super bright and also has an amazing anti-reflective coating. You know, as far as gaming goes, and I'll touch on that just a bit, TV's very competent, has a really low lag input time, refresh rates are great. So it really does it all. Gaming, television, sports, movies, TV, bright rooms, dark rooms, all at a price at under $1,000 for this TV from Best Buy right now. So really great set. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. And I'll see you guys in the next video.